Welcome, Archbishop Chama. It's good to have you here as part of this consultation. I understand that this is your first participation in the consultation. Is that right?
Yes. It's my first time to be in this consultation or dialogue. Mm-hmm. I didn't take part in the ones which took place in Tanzania and the one in England. But this one I seem to have had time, so I accepted to come.
Why did you want to be part of it?
Well, it is an interest that I have because of what has been happening in the Communion, that after the Lambeth of 208, our church hasn't been the same. But some of us have been thinking that we need to keep together in spite of divergent views that we hold about certain things. And therefore, I felt it would be a good contribution when people are willing to meet, talk, ask difficult questions, answer those questions, and do also to explore further in each one's context where we are working, what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. And for me, out of that, it was a motivation that I had to take part in this consultation.
What were your expectations as you prepared to come here?
Well, I felt, first of all, my expectation was that I'll meet bishops. Some of them I've never met. Some from the list that I saw, I'd met them. We've worked together in Africa. And one of my expectations was that since there are people I know, some of them, it will be easier to talk to them. And also there was some kind of anxiety that there are those I don't know. How do we open up and talk about certain things in the course of the consultation? By and large, I expect that these are people who have got the common interest of keeping the communion together. And therefore, I'm sure that whatever we'll be discussing in the process of our dialogue or consultation, the goal is to keep the communion together. I expected that, though of course, without some anxieties were there.
Have there been any surprises given what your expectations were?
Yes. For the first time in our conversations, bishops from Canada and from Africa were able to ask difficult questions. And when I say difficult questions, it was like, why did this church come to the point where they are to accept the gay and lesbian people? And two, why didn't they wait? And the bishops from Canada were very open to go further and explain the context in which they do the ministry and the difficulties also they face, both in the communities and within the church. And also, I got moved. Bishop Michael Ingham, he said, and we knew that our decision was going to bring the kind of impact it has made to the African church and elsewhere, we could have waited in our decision. And I felt what I read about the church in Canada and what he said, I felt also there is some kind of thinking on the part of the leadership of the church in Canada that we could have waited. We didn't realize that some kind of negative impact was going to come on board from where you are. And actually I've taken that word seriously. Then it has given me the perspective of understanding that actually in your own context within this church, you're also concerned, you're also worried, you're not happy. And secondly, use the word, it was not in defiance of the expectations of the communion that we decided to go the way we went in our decision. It wasn't trying to look at the internal prevailing circumstances that we took the position we took. We are really mindful. Hence, this consultation, we want to come back and see how we can begin to journey together. Now, these words were quite moving for me, and I felt, so it's not everybody in the Church of Canada think the way people think and say. There are people also who are very much concerned that the communion should be kept together.
Were there any frustrations, expectations that you had that have not been met?
Being the first time in this consultation, I would be honest, I didn't find any frustrations because the emphasis was about listening, asking, internalizing the issues that were raised, and at the end of the day, we are not there to make a solution, find a solution to the problem, but it was like listen to each one of us. When we listen to each other, then we'll be able maybe to understand where the Africans coming from, where the Church of Canada coming from, where other people are coming from. Because we had a bishop from the States, from Turkey. So it was really interesting. And therefore I didn't say there were any frustrations, no. Because the main business was to listen to each other and explore further how each context does does the ministry, or how the ministry is carried out in each context. And out of that I would say there was great of respect that in my African way of doing ministry is very different from the Canadian way of doing ministry, different from the American way of doing ministry. So I felt that was a more encouraging part in the whole consultation. So I had no frustrations at all.
You've talked about the learning that you've had in this consultation. Are there other learnings that you will take back with you for yourself or for your diocese, or that will be helpful for the Anglican communion?
Yes, especially in the aspect of missions, the way the missions were talked about. I feel that that should be a big thing that my home church should take on board. Though we are doing almost the same issue, the same thing that we talked about, but maybe we need to go a little bit further. And secondly, the issue of the covenant was brought on board. And we did agree that yes, the covenant is okay and it's good because it has made all of us to sit up and provide the opportunity to talk face to face and to think about the communion seriously. So in a sense, when I get back home and talking about the covenant, I think I'll be taking a different dimension now, because we realize that the Church of Canada, the Church in Africa, the Church in USA, we are still not of the common mind about the covenant. And also we went deeper, looking at the covenant from the legalistic perspective. And we discovered that there are a lot of issues which are of legal nature, which the people working on the covenant or the people propounding the covenant didn't take into consideration before it was put across the communion for debate, for discussion. Now these issues are emerging because in each context, the canons, the constitutions are very different, being independent from each other province in terms of governance of the church. And we've discovered that actually the covenant might be at war with the individual provinces pertaining to the issues of governance. i.e., I would find it difficult to discipline a clergy using the covenant, because the covenant is not part of my canons or the constitution of our province of Central Africa. One would challenge me. Therefore, we are saying it's very difficult to adopt this document. But that was done in the context of respect, understanding, and appreciating that we are different.
So it's part of this ongoing development of the Anglican Communion, not only the bonds of affection, but also the constitutional and legal learnings.
Yes, and that actually, to be honest with you, some people felt we had gone deeper to look at the covenant than they've been reading it on the internet or the way they've been talking about it. Because we realized as leadership, these things can catch up with us. And also we went further to look at what are the laws of the national states. What could be the crime in this country? It could not be a crime in my country in terms of discrimination. What could be a criminal offense? It could not be a criminal offense in my country. So we realize as leadership, we need to be careful how we tread on this matter. But with due respect to the people who have labored on it, who continue to labor on it, and for us who are debating it, but we should take into cognizance that we are different.
Do you think this consultation has helped us in the Anglican Communion to live with difference on ethical issues?
Yes, in a sense that we are different. Yes, they can help us to live as different people on ethical matters. For me, my thinking and my understanding is that I can take you back to Africa. You think Africa is the same country, it's just one country. There are several countries and different cultures and different peoples. What could be an offense in one tribe, it cannot be an offense in the other tribe, ethically. But we still live together. So in this case, after understanding where we are coming from contextually, it is saying what could happen in Canada cannot happen in Africa. What can happen in Africa cannot be allowed to happen in Canada. Therefore, it's up to the individual people now to accept that we can work together, but we are different.
So this process has helped people understand and feel more comfortable. Is that fair to say?
It could be fair, yes, because I know some of the bishops who are saying this has been very interesting. I'll give you an example. We talked about gay people and lesbians with an open mind, and the language is as open as anything else. Now, for me, that was quite a mile ahead of us when people can ask questions and using that language, which is never used in most situations within our church. But this time, people are free to talk about it and to ask questions. Who are these people? Because some of them have never met any one of them. And also, some bishops shared that they are grappling with the same problem on their doorsteps. So it's not a problem which is only here, but some parts of the world, they're experiencing the same. Maybe it's only the size or the magnitude of it, but it is there.
So this process is helping create a safe place within which the conversation can emerge that is open and frank and is building relationships that can do it.
Yes. Good. And that's the beauty of this consultation. People have been very open. I did say it actually, that for the first time I've had an opportunity to talk to the bishops openly and to hear everybody asking and listening attentively and accepting that, yes, we are different.
Thank you very much, Bishop.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.